I want to say a good morning to all of you for taking time off your busy Saturday morning to be part of the African Business Summit 2021. I want to salute Rosemary Okran for putting together this event and for bringing so many people from across Africa together this morning. I am an events person as well, so I know that it takes a lot of effort and planning and preparation to bring this number of people together. I want to salute my friend Maximus Ametogo, who is also speaking here this morning. Let's celebrate Maximus. Let's celebrate Maximus. The interesting coincidence is that in the year 2013, I hosted the very first edition of the Accra Youth Summit in this very auditorium, and Maximus was one of our speakers. So it's interesting that we are both speaking here after how many years? About 8 years later. I've been asked to speak on the subject of personal and financial skills for business. Personal and financial skills for business. First of all, let me ask, how many of you here are already into business? If you're here and you already have a business, can I see your hand? Okay, all right. So if you are here and you are on the verge of starting a business, can I see your hand? Okay. If you are here and you work in a business, can I see your hand? If you are here and you never plan to go into business, can I see your hand? All right, that's interesting. So as I was introduced, my name is Jeremiah. And for the past 6.5 years, I've built 3 businesses. Boabin Books Limited, that's a publishing company. Boabin Communications Limited, that's a marketing communications company. And our latest baby, Corporate Toolbox Limited, that's our training and consulting company. Even before I began the journey of starting these businesses, I'd already spent 6 years in the wilderness as a motivational speaker and conference organizer. I consider that also as business experience. Why? Because I had to become a name that people would like to invite to a program and pay. And I also had to learn how to sell an event for people to buy tickets and come for that event. So that's what I've been up to. If you were asked what is the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs face, what would be your answer? There's a hand up there. Pardon? What did you say? Finance. Okay. There was a hand up there. What's the answer? I see your hand. The one in yellow, yes. Capacity building. Okay. Yeah. Those, you please. Yes. Knowledge. Okay. The one behind. Same. Human capital. Okay. Yes. Pardon? Disappointment. From who? From who? I didn't hear that. Okay. Yes, there's a hand up there. I didn't hear that. Pain. Oh, I see. Interesting. I'm getting interesting answers. There's a hand up there behind. Yes. Pardon? I can't hear that. You know when you're standing here and you're there, it's a different country altogether. Do I have permission to come down? Can I come down? All right, so I will. All right. If you ask the question of what the greatest challenge for many entrepreneurs are in a room like this, the question of finance will come up. The question of capital will come up. A lot of people believe that their greatest challenge in business is about not getting money to start the business or not getting money to expand the business. There's some truth in it. There is some truth in it. But it is not an absolute truth. In my experience, trying to build a business, trying to build organizations, I've discovered that the greatest challenge that will face any startup entrepreneur is lack of expertise. lack of expertise, not knowing how to run a business. Not knowing how to run a business may become the biggest disadvantage facing you as you try to build a business. In my own journey, trying to build a business, I came against that disadvantage. I came against that weakness, not knowing how to build a business. Now, I started business as an editor. I'd made quite a name as a speaker, traveling the country, speaking in conferences, speaking to various groups of people. But then I realized that I still had a lot of time on my hands. If I was doing 2 speaking engagements a week, then I still had so much time. So I began to ask myself the question, what do I do? Am I going to live the rest of my life like this? Just sleeping, eating, reading books, watching movies, and waiting for my next speaking engagement to come. So I started thinking about what to do. What am I good at? All my life, I've had a strength in the English language. So I thought, oh, you're a good English person. What can I do with English? First answer, become a teacher. And I've thought for a while, and teaching is not bad, but I didn't want to do teaching again. So I thought about what else to do with that strength. So I decided to become an editor. When people write books, they come to me, I'll edit the books for them. Now, over time, not really over much time, but after a while, I added graphic design to the business. And eventually, the business evolved into our first business, Bobbin Books Limited. One of the mistakes I made was that I hired too many people too quickly. At the time, with the benefit of hindsight, I know that all I needed was a graphic designer in addition to myself. But I hired a graphic designer, and I hired somebody to help me with marketing, another person to help me with marketing, and another person, with the thinking that if I hired these people, they will help me bring money to the business. They will help me get new customers. They will help me increase sales. I was mistaken. Myself and a graphic designer alone could have generated enough cash flow, enough business for the business to survive. Now, I brought these people because I didn't even have experience. I didn't even know who to hire. So they applied for the job. I looked at their CV and I said, okay, come and work for me. And I brought them in. And they weren't bringing in any business. They weren't bringing in any customers. They weren't bringing in any cash. And the month will end and I'll pay them a salary. Up to a point where the business could not pay them a salary. And I was owing them. And because I didn't know how to run a business, I didn't know enough to fire them. So they were in the company, not contributing any value, and I was still paying them a salary. When I hired them, I did not have a clear organizational structure in mind. I did not know what job descriptions to give them, and I did not have the capacity to lead them and push them to produce results. That year was one of the most difficult years of my life. And I will pray and I will cry and I will bind the devil for trying to destroy my business. The devil had nothing to do with it. I was destroying the business all by myself. The greatest weakness that will confront you when you start a business is not knowing how to run a business. Write this down. You are a danger to yourself and your business if you get money before expertise. You are a danger to yourself and your business if you get money before expertise. You are praying for capital, but trust me, if you get that capital without knowing how to manage the capital, you will destroy your own business. Many people, they get money, they rent plush offices in East Legon, thinking that an office in East Legon is the key to their business breakthrough. If I rent an office in East Legon, people will bring me business. Oh, it's not that simple. If you don't know how to run a business, you will rent an office space that is more expensive than your overall monthly income as a business. If you get money before you get expertise, you will hire people you don't need. You will hire people who don't have the skills you need. You will hire people who have the wrong attitude because you have money. If you get money before you get expertise, You will spend money on many flashy things in the name of marketing and branding, thinking that doing those things will bring you cash flow and sales, but it will not bring you cash flow and sales. So before you chase capital, chase capacity. Write it down. Before you chase capital, chase capacity. What's my point? My point is that there is a certain capacity, gumption, expertise, insight, a collection of mental skills that you need in order to run a business. And without it, you cannot build the business. If I asked you what is your most important equipment as a business person, what will you answer? Okay. Human resource. Okay. Mr. Yellow is up again. Yes. Your head. Great. Yes. Experience. Knowledge. Network. Great. The most important equipment in your business is not your computer. If you are a printer, it is not your printing machine. If you are a chef, the most important equipment is not your kitchen. If you are into printing, advertising, it is not your CNC cutting machine. The most important equipment in your business is the brain in between your two ears. Your brain and this software, your mind, is the most powerful weapon in your business. The capacity of an entrepreneur to think, create ideas, analyze, ask questions, make decisions is his most important capacity. Your brain, your mental power. But your brain is a weapon. Your brain is a weapon. Like every weapon, you need an ammunition to power it. Your brain is a weapon. But every weapon needs ammunition to power that weapon. Your ammunition are your thoughts, your ideas, your insight, your information. The brain of the entrepreneur is his weapon. The weapon needs ammunition to function. The ammunition of the entrepreneur's brain are his ideas, his thoughts, his insights. But the question is, most people start business without any clear idea of what to do. They don't really have insight. They don't know where they are going. They don't know how to get there. They don't know when to get there. So if I started business today and I have a brain as my weapon, how do I power my weapon up? How do I give my weapon ammunition to function? Let's write some things down. 1, seek ideas from experts. Seek ideas from experts. There is somebody who has gone where you want to go. There is somebody who has done what you want to do. There is somebody who has walked the journey you are walking. Go to them. An entrepreneur must have the humility to know when to ask questions. Go to an expert. Ask questions. There are 3 groups of experts every business person must consult. Expert group number 1, other entrepreneurs. Other entrepreneurs. You have started business. You don't really have a clear idea of what you're going to do, how you're going to run a business, how you're going to build it. Go to other entrepreneurs and talk to them. I talk to entrepreneurs all the time. People who have done what I'm trying to do. People who are far more accomplished than I am. I go to entrepreneurs who are my peers at the same level as I am. I go to entrepreneurs who are ahead of me. I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs in Ghana. One day, I called Mr. Martin Bobe. Martin Bobe is the MD of Leicester Ghana Limited, the company that produces Yas. I went to speak to him because I got a crazy idea. You know, the ambition of an entrepreneur is his greatest strength. Ambition is also his greatest weakness. Because I got a crazy idea to go and set up a branch of my company in Liberia. And I know that he had a company librarian, so I went to speak to him. And he said, don't go. Because I was not ready then. And sometimes ambition can give you an exaggerated sense of your power and capacity. So consult other entrepreneurs. Ask them questions. How did you build your business? How did you build systems and structures? How do I generate sales consistently in my business? My customers do business with me once and they don't come back. How do I solve that problem? Talk to other entrepreneurs. One of my friends recently posted something on Facebook. He said, entrepreneurs don't want to talk to other entrepreneurs about their ideas. But he doesn't understand it. Because when I go to your website, everything about your idea is on your website. So talk to other entrepreneurs. Group number 2, talk to corporate managers. Talk to corporate managers. Now, corporate managers are people who are either CEOs of other people's business or they are heads of various departments. Maybe somebody who handles HR, somebody who handles sales, somebody who handles marketing, somebody who handles IT. Talk to other corporate managers and ask them questions about how to build key structures, pillars, or systems in your business. Petra, my entire sales management capacity, I learned it from 2 people, you and Kwame Jade. I have never worked in a company before, ever. The only job experience I've had was being a teacher and teaching in a few schools before school. So when I started the company, I was green. I had no idea how to build a business and how to build a company. So one of the things that I didn't even know that there was something called sales. I thought that all I had to do was go on Facebook and tell people that I publish books and people will come. I did it for a while and I was getting hungry. So I realized that I have to do it differently. So I came across the concept of sales. Initially, I started hiring salespeople. I hired them and they do what they like. If they are lucky, they get results. If they are not lucky, they don't get results. Then I learned a quick lesson. Now, because sales is hard, I thought that I, the entrepreneur, I can escape it and hire people to solve the problem. I learned very quickly that I couldn't do that. So, entrepreneurs, this is my belief. You cannot effectively supervise something you don't understand. Maximus, we're talking about websites. One of the reasons why I'll be slow down on the website service in my business because I don't really understand it. And because I am the CEO, entrepreneur, and a salesperson, it is difficult to sell what you don't understand. So I had to learn how to manage a sales force. So I bought Sales 101 and I read it back to back. I started asking you questions and I realized that somebody who was my mentee had gone into another company as a salesperson and he was loving it. He had learned so much. So this mentor decided to become a mentee. And I started calling Kwame. I will call Kwame and ask him questions. How does your sales department function? Then he will take me to the sales process on the phone. Whilst he's talking, I am typing. I can type a full screen of ideas. I'll call him and ask him questions. Sometimes I invite him to my house, take him to a restaurant. Whilst he's talking, I'm recording. I built my entire capacity to manage salespeople by consulting corporate people. So you have to learn how to use the people around you well. About 2 Saturdays ago, I spent 5 hours with a top CEO in Ghana, asking him questions from operations to marketing to client service to finance to accounting. It was a free MBA class. An entrepreneur must learn how to ask questions. If you don't have experience, the next step to bridging that gap, and you cannot bridge it fully, but if you can seek knowledge, you can bridge your inexperience gap. So ask questions. So I talked about three groups of people, right? First group was what? Entrepreneurs. Second group is what? Corporate managers. The third group are consultants. Now, usually consultants are more expensive than the first 2 groups of people. But the advantage with using consultants is that not only do they tell you what to do, sometimes they show you how to do it. Sometimes they even do it for you. And they show you tools, methods, systems, policies, things you can implement to achieve the results you're looking for. But of course, they don't come cheap. So you can engage a consultant to help you. The most important account in the life of an entrepreneur is not his bank account, it is his knowledge account. Your bank account is important, but your knowledge account will determine whether your bank account will be empty or full. And whether if it is full, you can keep the money in it and keep it coming. So you work with a consultant. You hire a consultant, help the person go through. Earlier this year, I was hired as a consultant by a fashion business. It was a fashion business that was doing very well, but they didn't even know that they were doing very well. As a matter of fact, before I joined them, they didn't even have an idea how much they were making every month. First month, I was with them, 57,000. They didn't know they could even make that much. Second month, they made 100,000. Third month, 120,000. All they needed was a consultant to show them this is how to check your money. And because they were not checking how much they were making, they were not saving any money at all. Seek advice from who? Entrepreneurs, corporate managers, consultants. Number 2, read. Read. Read as much as you can. Read as much as you can. Your brain is a weapon. Your thoughts, your ideas, your information is a weapon for firing up that brain. So you must pursue knowledge with hunger, with desire. Read as much as you can. There's an entrepreneur that everybody here must follow. His name is Strive Masiyiwa. Strive Masiyiwa is a Zimbabwean entrepreneur, and he's always teaching things about business, entrepreneurship on his Facebook wall. I've read at least 200 of them. Some of them I've read about 3 or 4 times. I have taken my time to collect his posts on his Facebook wall, and I read them like a textbook. Don't ask me to give you my own. Please, you to go and collect yours. Strive Masiyiwa as a teacher of entrepreneurship. Follow him. If you're an entrepreneur, Harvard Business Review is a good article for you to follow. Don't just go to Facebook and read people's jokes and laugh. Follow articles that will help you. Follow a platform like Incorporated.com. Incorporated writes articles about business. Read articles on Entrepreneur.com. Some of them, when you read them, you will not even understand them. Because some of them will be a bit ahead of you. You're reading an article on how to build systems and structures. You right now, you don't even have sales. I think that the most pressing need in any business is to generate sales. When you start doing sales and start getting money, you can start thinking of doing all sorts of things. But if your business does not make enough money, you can't even spend time on HR. Wow, so read, buy books. Buy books, buy all kinds of books. I buy academic books on business. I have books on small business management, corporate governance, strategic management. Every kind of business book you can imagine, I have them. Marketing, advertising, sales. Buy books. The books will not solve all your problems. It will not tell you everything you need to do, but at least it will give you some ideas to work with, some information to work with. Buy books. Number 1 was what? Seek expert advice, right? Number 2 was what? Read. Number 3 is a little more complicated. Learn how to think, analyze, and ask questions. The first 2 keys I've given you are baby steps. In the first 2 keys, you are going to somebody who has already built their own mental capacity in business to share ideas with you. But it's like borrowing a dress. You can wear the dress and look nice, but it's still not yours. So with key number 3, You must learn how to develop your own native business wisdom. You must develop your own mental capacity to make good business decisions. How do you do that? You must learn how to think, analyze, and what? Ask questions. But how do you learn how to think, analyze, and ask questions? You start by first gathering data. Many businesses, they can't tell you how much money they make every month. They can't tell you how much money they spend on electricity every year. They can't. They can't tell you how much money they spend paying salaries because they don't gather data. My opinion is that there are a lot of businesses that are busy but are unprofitable because they don't really know. They're just busy going about doing things, but they don't really gather data. So you must gather data. One of the most critical data to gather is finance data. Every money you receive, you record. Every money you spend, you record. Every money you receive, you record. Every money you spend, you record. Now, let me just do a little practical work with you. Let's assume that you run a business that's into retail. You sell fashion accessories, clothing and fashion accessories. So you sell shirts, you sell trousers, you sell shoes, you sell belts, you sell singlets, you sell watches, you sell chains, stuff like that. And then in 2019, your data shows you that you sold 100 shirts, 50 trousers, 10 shoes. 2020, you sold 150 shirts, 80 trousers, 20 shoes. 2021, 162 shirts, 85 trousers, 25 shoes. If you are planning your business for 2022, which service or product will you put in the most money for marketing? Yes, shirts. How did you know that you should put more money in promoting shirts? Because of your data. But if you're a business person and you don't gather data, you will operate by faith. Listen, there's a place for faith and there's a place for wisdom. There's a place for prayer and there's a place for thinking. So you must gather data. You know, one of the places where I learned simple issues about data is football. You watch football. Football is ordinary entertainment too. But somehow somebody sits down and calculates this striker this season. He has played 100 shots. 20 of them went over the bar. Another 25 on the left. Another 20 on the right. 3 entered. Football, entertainment. You run a business. You don't even know how many people you have employed in the history of the business. This defender, he has intercepted 15 balls, conceded 4 goals. Football. I learned the simple principle of the importance of data from reading small articles on annual performance of companies. So every quarter, there will be an article on MTN that MTN has released their profitability ratio, something. Then they'll say mobile money brought this amount of money. SIM cards brought this amount of money. I said, at the time, I didn't even know how important it was. But I saw them doing it, which I started doing some. Later, it became critical for me because I knew where to focus my money. You know, when I was starting publishing, Petra, I didn't really intend to stay in publishing. I started the publishing business because for me, it was one of the easiest things to do. I'd already published my own books. So the plan was start doing the publishing business. When you make money, go and do something better. Do you know why I stayed in publishing? Because from my data, I realized that we got more demand for that service than any other service. Businessmen, You stay in business that is profitable, not business that you are in love with. Please, did you hear that? You stay in a business that is profitable, not a business that you are in love with. You are selling shoes, you are selling socks. People are buying the shoes more than the socks. You say that, no, I went to learn how to sew socks, so I want to stay in the socks. Please, Okombedo. You will be hungry. So you have to keep data. You must become a sticker. Look, even if your business only makes 1,000 cedis a month, please write it down. Mobile money, write it down. Don't collect money from your business and put it in your pocket. Even if you intend to chop the money, you still write it down. Because it is data. So when you take data, that's when you start making good decisions, because you're not just guessing. You are looking at the trends. Gathering data is not just about money. It's also about hiring people. Because as you go in business, you realize that probably your most difficult thing to deal with is people. And it will not just be about your customers. Even your own employees that you are paying them a salary to come and help you achieve your goals will give you more problems than your customers. But you have to gather data. You have to pay attention to trends. One of the things that I'm exploring in my business from this year is that I've realized that there are people who go to secondary school and they are brilliant. They may not get the opportunity to go to university. And there are some things we do in our business that we can teach a brilliant senior high school graduate to do. A person doesn't need a degree or a diploma to do those things. But if you get a brilliant high school graduate and you train that person, the person can do it. If we are able to succeed in doing that, you know what we have achieved? The SS graduate who has been trained is more likely to be loyal to the business and is more likely to be cheaper. How did we do these calculations? Based on data. Data. Now, your data analysis and your predictions may not always go right, but it is better to run your business based on collecting data. When Martin Amidu resigned as special prosecutor, did you read his letter? I learned something big from that letter. Maximus, he said, you brought me so and so item and so date at this time. So and so date, you brought me this check, so and so date at this time. Letter. He had data. He had data. If your business is in trouble and you want to release your staff for them to go, based on which data will you use to make that decision? On which data? One of my graphic designers in a staff meeting says that, JB, we should dispose of our computers and buy laptops. I said, how much is a laptop? He said, 7,000. I laughed. I said, I'll think about it. Then I went to think about it. But you see, most people, I had a baba. And he said, JB, this year, I want to buy air conditioner for my barber and salon. I said, okay, fine. Then he said, I'm going to buy TV and I'll take DSTV subscription. I said, Rhapsody, man, yes, sir. He didn't understand. Went to buy the TV, went to take DSTV subscription. Now he paid about 1 month, 2 months. The third month, the guy is not buying DSTV subscription. I asked him, why? I said, I told you. Because most people make decisions for business based on faith. But you are a barbering shop. You collect 8 cedis and 10 cedis. You're going to buy DSTV and get premium to watch Champions League. So my staff, who said we should go and buy a laptop, 8,000 cedis. I did quick calculation. A laptop will not last more than 3 years. For what we do. At best, it will last 2 years. I calculated how much money we will make from design in a year. And I compared it to the cost of the laptop. And I said, yes, it's a nice idea, but I won't buy it. He won't understand it because I'm making a decision based on what? Data. If you don't know how much your business is bringing you for graphic design, it will excite you. Go and buy 8,000 cedis laptop. Your business is not profitable. Tell somebody, keep data. Let's do a quick revision. So we're talking about one, seeking expert advice. Expert advice from what? Three groups of people. One is what? One is what? Okay, so this people will say the first one, then this people will say the second one, then this people will say the third. I'll come to you people. One is what? Hey, they're no smart, so I'm confused though. One is what? Okay. Two is what? Hey, roadside managers. Two is what? Corporate managers. Three is what? Consultants. Then point two was what? Point two was what? Read. Point three. Point three. Manchester United. Point three. Manchester United. Point three. I'm referring to you. My final points and I close. I was asked to speak to you about what to do if the banks refuse to give you loans. Please, let me rephrase it better. The banks will not give you loans. You know, I was talking to one of my microcredit companies that gives me money sometimes. And I was telling them about a business I want to explore and how much money I needed. And he said, oh, go and talk to your bank. You see, the banks, they give lower interest rates and they'll give you a longer time to pay. So right in front of my office, I called my RM and I said, oh, hello, RM. I want so and so amount of money. Can you give it to me? First statement. What collateral do you have? I said, I have my car. We don't take cars. We only take landed properties. A landed property means that you have a land or you have a house. Please, do you have a house? Do you have a house? Forget. So the truth of the matter is that the banks won't give you money at this level of your business. And the truth of the matter is that I agree with the bank. Do you know why? The banking money is not free money. It's somebody's money. You have to give it to people who you are sure can pay back. So, my proposition for anybody starting business is to consider starting small. You yourself, try and start small and start with what you have. Start small and start with what you have. You know, some people say that, oh, Jeremiah, you don't understand me. I want to go into real estate. How do I start small? If you want to go into construction and want to start small, if I were you, I would consider bringing together a group of masons and calling it ABCD Construction Limited. If you want somebody to come and build your house for you, call out, will come. That's why you don't need much capital to start. You start from there, grow little by little. Eventually, you buy one piece of land. You build timber and hall, tray on it. You start renting it. That's how to start life. The challenge for many of us is that we want to start big. We want to start big. But that's what I always say. Listen, unless you come from a rich family, you have to start almost everything in life small. Or you will never start at all. Unless you come from a rich family, you have to start everything in life small. So start small. You want to start a school. Good. Go and get one room and start with it. I know that when you start from that level, it is slower. I know. I've been there before. But it is better. It is better to make mistakes on a small scale than to make mistakes on a large scale. Start small. Start small. When I started my business, I was still living in my father's house. I had a small room with a blue Toshiba laptop. It was not even a big Toshiba laptop. It was a small blue Toshiba laptop. So today, I regret not keeping that laptop. I could have brought it here this morning for you to see. In my father's house, in the first 6 months of the business, I got what looked like a big contract. Then I moved from my father's house, went to rent a chamber and hall, made the chamber my house, made the hall my office. I set up the hall like an office, so I didn't have a hall. If you come and visit me, please, it is office. Come and sit in the office, you go. I bought tables, 3, bought laptops and computers, put in office. The plan was to stay there for a year, raise money, and go and get an office space later. In life, things don't go as you plan. I stayed there for 2 years in that hall. In that hall, I did work for people in the US, in the UK, in Germany. They did not know where I was working from. In my hall. Eventually, I moved the business to Accra. Went to get an office space. First was one long room. Eventually, I added one small room to it. Now I operate in a 4-room self-compound in Caprice, Accra. From the business I started in my father's house. So, I understand your ambition. I understand your eagerness to go big. But take your time. Your ambition can become your greatest strength. It can also be your greatest weakness. Take your time, start small, and grow what you have. Thank you very much.